Before we start this episode, I wanted to tell you that if you're looking for free dog training courses, you can take the Victoria Stilwell Academy's most popular free course, Building Your Dog's Confidence, right now by going to vsdogtrainingacademy.com. That's vsdogtrainingacademy.com. Okay, now on with the podcast. On the podcast today, I have dog trainer Sean Brown, founder of Petsercise, where passion meets purpose. And Petsercise, well, I've never been there, but I really, really want to go. It is an amazing complex outside the city of Newcastle. And it's where, I think I just would like to say, Sean, before we kind of bring you in, that I really like what you have on your website. It says no dog should miss out on the stimulation, opportunities, training, and core exercise needed to live healthier, happy lives. I absolutely love that. Sean, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much. I like the intro. It made it sound quite like epic almost. It was good.
But it is epic. You are epic.
Yeah. The thing on the website is I think at the core of what we try and do is look at the diversity of dogs and look at what dogs are all about and what they need, because every need's different. And it's so how do we capture that, and how do we capture a dog just being a dog? Don't complicate it. Just what is that dog and what is it about? And that's, I think, what our whole company tries to capture is really home in on that.
I have a lot of questions to ask you, and we're going to kind of go deep into the world of what the dog training industry is like today and how we need to simplify everything. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'd love to talk to you about. For those of you in the UK who have been lucky enough to watch the Dog Academy, yes, that's the same Sean Brown from the Dog Academy Series 1. We have just finished filming Series 2. Hopefully that will be out sometime next year in 2024. And it was definitely been an amazing experience, a challenging one, but an amazing one. But first of all, I'd like to ask you about your journey into dog training, because you do have a fascinating journey.
It's a bit of a story. So I used to, when I was younger, I played in goal. I was a goalkeeper. I thought I was always going to be a professional goalkeeper. I played in an academy, Sunderland Academy it was. I got released from that because I wasn't never going to be tall enough to be a goalkeeper in the Premiership. I then moved to rugby. Within my second year of playing rugby, I got into the age group England teams, 18, turned professional. Played for Newcastle Falcons as a professional rugby player. And whilst I was a rugby player, I did a lot of work with charities around dogs. So just charity work you do as like professional sportsmen, this, that, and the other. I rescued my first dog when I was a rugby player. So I had always had rescue staffies. My mum and dad, we had some real kamikaze dogs in the house all the time with their little quirks and tricks. And then when I was at the shelter doing some charity work, there was this Rottie that had been there for 3 years, and she had all different problems going on. So I rescued her, and she was the logo of my company that I later on formed. So yeah, I had her. I retired from rugby, and then I got into dogs, and then I started building. So I started off as a dog walker. I just wanted to have fun with dogs, essentially. I think especially because I had such a drop from when I stopped playing rugby, dogs kind of was like my next passion. They helped me as much as I was trying to help them. And so when I was walking the dogs, I just wanted to have fun with them. And I was like, when you're out with me, it is going to be the best experience. This isn't going to be a walk for you. I'm going to explore everything with you, and we're going to do it together. And that sort of kicked on, and people really enjoyed what I was doing, and it built, and it kind of reignited a new passion for us. And then we started doing daycare. We've got sand arenas. We do dog agility now, different training modifications, grooming, hydrotherapy centre, dock diving where the dogs fly off into the pools. We have like freedom fields, scent fields, like little woodland sections. So it kind of all started though from this core of when I did the charity work when I was a rugby player, and then it kind of just blossomed from that. And it's funny how things you can never really see what your future is going to align into, but then it's like it was all perfect. It's like it was all meant to be from the start, and I never could have known it. And there's so much more we do, but from an outset, that's kind of our center is just how do we make dogs happy and have the best life possible for each individual dog.
On this podcast before, we've talked about with my group, with my team, we talked about, do dogs really like being trained, or are they merely tolerating it? Mm-hmm. And it seems like dog training, well, many forward-thinking dog trainers like yourself and like us here at VSA and at Positively, we're sort of thinking beyond the actual like idea of training, teaching dogs to do different tasks for us, teaching dogs to respond to different cues, things like that, that we're going beyond that. And not that that's completely new, because a lot of people, enrichment is very important. But there still seems to be, and especially in the dog loving community that, not the dog training community, there just seems to be more, I would say, stuck in the kind of ideas of 10 years ago. But we're moving forward, in fact, putting more emphasis on dog's joy, for want of a better word.
And the fascinating thing is with it is sometimes people come with a problem. So they might come with, let's take an easy one of pulling on the lead. And we can get so fixated on, like, let's focus and pinpoint on lead training, where the problem might not be lead training at all. It might be its exercise and its enrichment and what it's doing in the house and its relationship with the owner. And this is just a symptom of that problem. And they're kind of linked, but you've got to move away from it. And that's what I find with a lot of amazing trainers that we interact with, especially that like come up to our centres and that we see in different companies that we help, because we do work with different charities and stuff. You see them pivot and they look at the broader picture. And Mary's training has got a little bit like that, where we kind of train something and then we need to train it more. So train that cue more and reinforce it and then proof it and keep going and keep going and keep going. There's actually, if you just stood back and you went, just exercise the dog a little bit more. And they'll go, the problem went. And you go, well, it's because you were kind of batting at the wrong thing. And that's the thing that makes me so like passionate about dogs is when we do, see if we are doing something like dog reactivity, why then doing swimming with that dog helps with the dog reactivity. And it's because the relationship with the owner is better and the dog's doing something it enjoys and they're building things. So it's fascinating confidence, isn't it? Confidence in humans is fascinating. And them exercises help with confidence in both the owner and the dog, and it's in a safe environment, but it's new and it's challenging in its own way. And then all of a sudden they go back to the dog reactivity and they're like, we was better this time, or we got further this time. It's like, it's fascinating, isn't it? That relationship and we've got to be always aware of sometimes just step back and just look at the picture and go, what's really happening? What is the problem caused from, rather than just diving straight at it.
I think people have seen so much. I mean, they're bombarded. They're bombarded with information from books and videos and YouTube and then television and now social media. I mean, social media is obviously exploding and anybody can set themselves up to be a dog trainer. And the devastation that we see that is being the havoc that's being wreaked by some names in the social media world that are just doing dreadful things to dogs, but yet it's celebrated because somehow people love to see people, mostly men, wrestling dogs to the ground in order to stop them aggressing. Or, I mean, it's just so disgusting. I can't even just makes me feel so dreadfully sad for the dog. But that is what is happening now in this world. And we really need to just stop and simplify. And that's something we're really doing at Positively. It's something we're doing at VSA. Stop and simplify. It feels like, and I remember Dr. Ian Dunbar, saying this to trainers, because there was a point about 10 years ago where we were all getting so deep into the science, and the science is very important. The science of behavior and the science of cognition. There's amazing things that are being discovered in this day and age now with the study of dogs. So we have to take that on board, and it informs a lot of what we do. But it was about 10 years ago, and everybody was just getting really immersed in science and teaching the science. And I remember Ian Dunbar saying, just, okay, that's important, but stop. You're missing the point.
Yeah.
And I think we've lost a little bit through all of this social media and through all of this television, and this is what you do. I think we've lost the celebration of dogs. I think we've lost what dogs truly are.
And I think, so like something I would always say, it, especially to young trainers that are getting involved or they're starting off their own companies, something simple done extremely well is better than something complicated done poorly, right? And I can promise you, when you have clients that are in real trenches with their dogs in the company, you're worried, give them simple things that are very effective and that they can like get a good rhythm with and nail. And then when they've got that rhythm and they're flowing and they're happy and they're getting that confidence, that's when you might chuck in the odd little bit that's a bit harder. And I think our jobs as trainers is because the science is getting so good for the dogs. It's amazing what we know about them now, and these different methods and what we can do and how we know how the brain works so much more. We've got to take that and be like, right now, how do we put it into these boxes for these people to understand? Because the person that's doing their 9 to 5 and they're coming to a session on an evening and they're tired, they don't want to know about it all.
No, they
just
don't.
want to be like, so it's like saying, like, how do I just walk my dog down the street? And within that, it's about us giving measures as well. If you have a really reactive garden breed, let's say, about saying, well, let's be realistic, he might not pack walk ever, he might not be that social of a dog, but he should be able to cope with being outside and passing dogs at a safe distance and be happy and enjoy them walks. So it's about us taking that human side, because I think we get a little bit human ideology and go, I want to take him to a cafe and I want to sit there, and you go, is that right for the dog? Is that what the dog wants to do at its core? And that's where I think you've kind of got these different angles of, don't overtrain, don't pincer in too much, look at the full picture, simplify it so it can be actually effective, because I might be able to do something really complicated, but if they can't do it, that's spending the most time with the dog, we don't see the improvement. And then what's right for the dog? No, at the core, what is right for the dog? Because everybody's happier if you have a nice, happy dog that you have a great relationship with. Right, big deal if you don't have to go to the cafe with it and have a coffee. It isn't a massive deal. So I think that's where people maybe get hung up a little bit, because they get so fixated on certain things, and you go, well, that's just not his gig. His gig's this.
Well, the dog has to fulfill, it seems, many roles in people's lives.
Yeah.
They want it to be a companion, and they want it to socialize and be friendly with everybody that comes into their home, yet they want it to be a guard dog. So if there's a stranger or somebody or a weird person, they want them to guard their home. They want them to walk well on the lead and to greet every single other dog that walks past, and be very, very friendly and tolerate people touching them and petting them on top of the head. They want a dog that's going to walk at their pace. They want a dog that's not going to bite and has to tolerate the child climbing all over it and pulling its ears and pulling its tail. And they want a dog that is going to only toilet when they let them out. Then they also want a dog that is going to listen to them at all times, going to sleep through the night, can stay by themselves for 8 hours a day whilst they go for a walk. When they go to work. And that is able to ride in a car and be okay, go on holiday with them, go to dog boarding when they can't take the dog with them. I mean, these dogs, the list is endless. These dogs have to fulfill such roles in people's lives. And when you get a case, we get a case, we have to look at all that and go, stop.
Yeah.
Let's just simplify. And let's not forget what you have at the other end of your lead. This is an animal at the end of the day with very sharp teeth, and left to its own devices is going to toilet where it wants, is going to procreate, is going to run around, is going to potentially meet other dogs and either fight over food or pack up, or, this is an animal at the end of the day. And we need to get back to that, which I think Pet Society is so good at recognizing and good at doing, because I think you're absolutely right. Well, no, not I think. You are right. You are right in that. Let's say you have a dog that has a major barking issue in the house, and, you can teach your dog to be quiet. You can teach it that skill, but then the barking is a symptom of something much larger. So if you focus on that something much larger, what does the dog need? Then you're going to modify the barking.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can then get something that might rear up in a different area from it without getting a call. So the thing that really fascinates me, and I think people have really got to try and understand, is, so if we take a pack out at, say, one of our freedom fields, we have outdoor pools, we have like scent work stuff, and say we have like these sticks and trees and tires and stuff. I can promise you, the Labradors are pretty much always in one section of the field, and our Spaniels and our Scenty dogs are in one area, and we have a lot of our bull breeds in another area ripping tires up and stuff. And just within that simple thing, you then go, well, if you take them 3 dogs, say them categories, and if you just walked it around the block, you might get away with maybe more your Scenty breeds because they'll be sniffing around the corners and stuff, but your other 2 maybe one a bit more. And that's where, if they come to me with a problem, we would just take a step back and go, actually, it's nothing to do with this problem. It's just the lab just needs to swim. He needs to like retrieve and swim, and this and the other. This dog just needs to scent. And so it's about tapping into what the core dog's needs are and actually help with so much of the problems. And the thing is, we know it because we get these dogs and we kind of know what they're bred for. And then we go, yeah, we're just not going to do any of that. We're going to like feed you out with a dog bowl and like when you sit in the house for 8 hours and this, that, and the other. So it's about, I think we love that we look at dogs as individuals and actually help people look at them as individuals and go, yeah, I know you've had 5 other Cocker Spaniels, but this Cocker Spaniel's a little bit different. He wants a bit more. He needs to be pushed a bit more. And it's about then people going, oh, like I never thought of that, and we're doing this now. And I think that's what's amazing is we can bring all these different breeds together. They can play and they can interact, but at their core, they normally will filter into slightly different categories of what they want to do. And the sooner we get back people doing that, it branches out so much sort of enthusiasm and delight and happiness for both the owners and the dogs.
I love filming It's Me or the Dog in the UK because most of the dogs, well, in fact, I work with so many dogs that on the show have issues, and my job is to find out why and then to coach the family and teach them and show them sort of around the area kind of what a support system there could be. And part of that support system and those resources are freedom fields. And it's something that we really don't have here in the US, which is a shame because, I mean, there's lots of dog runs and dog parks, but that's for dogs running all together and they have their own issues. So to have these freedom fields for dogs that are not so or don't really like social interaction or are a bit worried about social interaction and just need some space and some time. These freedom fields are amazing and you can book them for 30 minutes or you can book them for an hour. They're not very expensive. You don't have to take your dog there every day, but it's a wonderful outlet, isn't it, for these dogs that are not able to socially interact or do not feel comfortable being taken for a walk, cannot be at the other end of a lead. These freedom fields are lifesavers.
Yeah, and it's amazing if when we're talking about training, you can maybe go down a road of where the training just isn't right, and actually that dog and that owner would be much happier with a better management strategy in place of like enrichment feeding, enrichment for the dog, and then using things like freedom fields. Because I'm not being funny, I was never like the biggest guy to go out and party in clubs and stuff. And would someone come along and go, actually, we need to train that? So what we're going to do is we're going to try and train that into you. I just be like, I don't really like it, you know? And I think that's maybe where we there's training you can do, but there's also lines, I think, where you got to go, well, just maybe it's not right. And the freedom fields are brilliant for both the owners and the dogs. Just to have fun again and like this, be free and then just run around and be happy and explore, not have these worries and not have these potential bad experiences or be preempting a bad experience. They're just free and happy. And
Sean, I think that's one of the best analogies that I've ever heard, is that a nightclubber, you cannot, if you don't really like that, you can't be trained into it. You might go and you might tolerate it, but are you going to be trained into enjoying it? I don't know. And yet that's what people are doing with dogs all the time, is that they're trying to fit these, a square peg into a round hole, and it just doesn't work. And that's what I feel like a lot of dogs tolerate things because of what we want them to do and the roles that they fulfill in our lives. But no, I'm the same. I do have to say, if it's a dance club, I'll go because I love dancing. And that's great. But you put me in an environment, let's say a cocktail party, where you have this sort of small talk and you move around from person to person. I absolutely hate it. My parents used to have so many cocktail parties, and they used to go to lots of cocktail parties. And then when I was younger and at school, I worked for a very, very fancy silver service company called the Running Buffet, which did a lot of events in London and in Wimbledon as well. And so I would take around the wine and the food, and I did so many events like that. So that was easy because it actually gave me something to do and a way to like just say hello and then leave again, because I had to serve the food around to everybody. But put me in that kind of, I absolutely hate it. I am so uncomfortable. And I'm sorry, no amount of training is going to make me enjoy it. I might tolerate it. I might go and tolerate it, but I really don't. And I don't want to talk to you. And I think you call me introvert, whatever, but that is, and training our dogs into doing something that they are just not. We really got to think about it.
Yeah, and you've got to be, even that within itself. So sometimes when we're training, we bang the drum, we're like, just keep banging the drum, bang the drum, bang the drum every day. Whereas actually what we could do, we take that dog again and we put them at the freedom field on Monday, Tuesdays in the swimming pool, Wednesday, though you are going to do a walk where you might have to pass some dogs and you have to do a bit of work. He can cope with that now because he's in a really good mind frame going into it.
Yes.
So that cocktail party, every night you are going to be burnt out bad and you're probably going to snap and really cause a tantrum there. But actually, once every so often, you can get through it and you put your smile on and you chat to everyone and you kind of get through it. And I think that's the same with dogs as well, as we've got to be. It's almost tolerated, but it's like they can get through it because they're in the right mind frame and they're in a good, happy place. And they go, I'm not really keen on dogs, but I can pass him, rather than being swamped by it and being like, you're being like, Mum, it's every day. I cannot cope with constantly passing these dogs. I need to stop. And then that's sometimes where as trainers we come in and we go, well, let's now focus on that thing that dog's saying I'm really swamped with. Whereas I'd be like, let's just have fun. Do you know what I mean? Let's just go and swim and have fun. And then we'll come back to it, but your relationship will be better and the dog will be happier and we'll come into it and then we'll come at it with a different angle and we'll try and change his mindset towards it. And that's how we try and approach our training, of just taking away that intensity of that sort of moment. And it's really, puts us in a real good place, because when we do work with our rescue centres where we have our centre program with them, a lot of them dogs that get rescued, they're in like, they're trying to decompress, and there's this, that, and the other, and we go, just slow down, let the dog decompress into a situation that it's happy, and it's being a dog again, and it's expressing itself, and then we start looking at what we need to maybe work a little bit on this, or build a little bit onto this. And that's what we find amazing, is just how much you can bring on dogs. Of why have we lost that? Why do you think we've lost that? Why have we lost letting dogs just be happy running around or swimming them? Why is that being so filtered away from training?
Because in the last, 20, 30 years, that's what training has kind of gone towards, and in a good way and in a bad way as well. And it's just like, oh, we can teach these dogs lots of commands, and we can get control, and we can make them submissive to us. And then, of course, even shows like Barbara Woodhouse, really, she started off in the UK. I mean, that was kind of the big dog show in the UK. And Dunbar had a show. And then, of course, It's Me or the Dog hits Channel 4. And I, even in that's been 20 years now, nearly 20 years. Can you imagine that, Sean? I had the idea of it in late 2004, and it started in 2005. I cannot, that ages me, but, and I've evolved as a trainer even from the beginning, but, and I think social media hasn't helped as well. So everything has been so focused on training. And I will still do that. I'll still teach dog skills. We still do that. But you're right. You have to go and start with that relationship building, decompression, allow the dog to be a dog. And we've got lead laws here. We cannot let our dogs off the lead at all here in most places. People do. But in parks and around here, you are not allowed to have your dog off the lead at any time. And that causes its own issues. So that's why Freedom Fields and everything in the UK is wonderful. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and, we're going to dish the dirt on the Dog Academy. So we'll be right back.
Are you a dog trainer looking to take your knowledge and skills to the highest level? Or maybe you're a dog guardian, interested in figuring out whether your love of dogs can translate into more of a career than a hobby. Or are you already working in the pet industry, but recognize that you need to fill some gaps when it comes to how to manage dog behavior so that you can better serve your existing clients? No matter where you are on your journey, the Victoria Stilwell Academy has courses that can help you get to where you want to go. From our free Building Your Dog's Confidence starter course, to the powerful Fundamentals of Dog Training and Behavior course, all the way up to our flagship Professional Dog Trainer course, we have options for every skill level and budget. All you have to do is be passionate about giving dogs the best lives possible. All of our courses are available online anywhere around the world 24/7. No gimmicky sales tactics where you need to act within a certain window to enroll. My amazing team at the Victoria Stilwell Academy understands that we need to be ready to serve you whenever the time is right for you to make the jump. Whether that means dipping your toes into our free courses or realizing your fullest professional dog training dream by enrolling in the dog trainer course. So, join the thousands of dog geeks like you that are a part of our amazing and supportive VSA family today. We have Academy specialists available to talk with you and figure out how we can help you reach your dog training goals, or you can enroll in a starter course for free right now. The Victoria Stilwell Academy. It's the future of dog training.
I'm back with Sean Brown, and we've been talking a lot about what we think the dog training industry kind of lacks in the fact that we're just forgetting just to be simple and to really allow dogs to be dogs before we even think of the kind of skills and the things that we're going to teach them. But I would like to talk about the Dog Academy. Now,
Yeah.
The UK it was in March that it started to air, March, April time of 23. The Dog Academy aired on Channel 4. And here we have 6 trainers, you, me, Joe Pay, Kamal Fernandez, Adam Danes, and Nancy Creedon, hitting the screens and showing people how to deal with truly difficult behavior issues, as well as, helping people with their dogs and helping people understand their dogs. And it went so well that we have just finished filming season 2 of that, which should hopefully transmit next year. But what was your experience like on series 1 of the Dog Academy? And now series 2, actually. But what was your experience like?
Season 2, I was more, let's say, like ready for it, ready for the intensity. Season 1 was like, whoa, you're in it now. This is the real deal. And it's more the intensity of trying to get the results and think on your feet. And it moves at such a fast pace, as well as then trying to showcase these positive methods. How do you get them positive methods across to the viewers best? There's so many factors. And then, I had a couple of times where you take the dog and the dog just wants to everything to slow down and calm down and get it used to its environment. And you're kind of tapping your fingers thinking, what am I going to do now? Or where you had a plan, and then when the owners had came in, that wasn't the problem at all. So you're like quickly re-scripting your plan and then talking to producers trying to go, this is what we're going to go for now and stuff like that. So it's like it's a completely different world, isn't it, really, of the dogs are dogs and the behaviors are the behaviors, but everything around it it's just intense. And I think it makes a really good showing that these positive methods work and they're effective and they can be done in short space of time, and they really can help people and dogs. And I think at the core of what the show is doing, that's what it really hits home. But when you're in it doing it, it's it ages you a bit, I would say.
Yeah, it does. It is intense. And of course, we're taking on cases that are very, very challenging. And working in a very condensed way because we don't have a lot of time. But what I found is that, certainly from the first series, and I'm finding with a lot of the people that were on the show this year that we keep in contact with and we do follow-up Zoom calls with, and that the impact it's had on their lives has been profound. And I remember Jo saying, and she actually said it on this podcast as well, having never done television before and then doing the first series of the Dog Academy, she was amazed at how adaptable the dogs were and how quickly they learned, and how just, coming to a totally new place that they've never been to before, and having cameras around and lots of different people around, yet these dogs can adapt and transition so well into learning. And also that we are teaching people basically to understand. So people might come to the Dog Academy with a very different idea of why their dog is doing something. And that light bulb moment when they actually realize that what they thought is actually completely different.
Yeah. And the thing is with it was just changing their mindset completely, wasn't it? And they were like, oh my God, it's this. And then you kind of seen that like light spark, didn't you? And they were like, oh my God, the future. And most people were leaving really excited. So imagine that coming in and thinking, because for a lot of people, we were their last hope or their last sort of swing at it. And they were like, there's nothing you can do. And then they're leaving there like excited and being like, I can't wait to get into it and our future is going to be different. And I think that ultimately for me was amazing, because it was sort of saying like, this isn't a gimmick what we're doing. We're using positive methods that work and really actually change dogs and humans' lives. It's just getting to that end stage was quite intense, because you got to pivot a little bit and bounce around. And you got to work out what the dog wants and what's the motivation for the dog and what's actually really going on and how you're going to work it. But I think as a whole, and hopefully for the industry as a whole, it's a really positive sort of symbol to go, bam, there it is on your screens. And people that watch it maybe then hopefully reach out to other people going, oh, we've seen this on the Dog Academy, you're a positive trainer as well. Can we do some sessions with you? And that would be my real big hope, is that we as a whole move this industry forward in the right way.
Television has definitely helped. Well, it helps in many, many different ways. But for me, It's Me or the Dog has always been about helping people understand. And that, I think, is at its core. That's what the Dog Academy does so well. On whatever television show that I have done, and I think this is my 6th one now, or is it my 7th one here in England and in the US, it's always been, my aim has always been to help people understand their dogs more. And when you understand, you have more empathy. And when you're more empathetic, then I think you're kinder to your dog. When you understand your dog's experience more, you're able to give them what they need. And plus, you're kinder. And it does bring me on to a subject that I know we've talked about before, and that there's a lot of other media out there. I mean, we talked about it between us, but we just touched on it at the beginning of this podcast. But out there on social media and on television, there are other trainers that have I would say a different way of doing things, or a different approach. And that can be frustrating. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's not pussyfoot around. It can be very frustrating, because the dog training industry is moving so hopefully in the right direction. And there are so many great organizations and companies and great trainers out there that are following the positive path, a very progressive path. And it's a path that we need to follow. Mm-hmm. But we still seem to be stuck with the old style. And what do you think about that?
It's tricky, because as humans, we know that the quick fix doesn't work. Why is it if I just go, oh, wait, I want my 6-pack back, I just go, oh, well, I just want the quick fix? Or if I'm having these emotional problems or all these different things that are going on in my life, I go, oh, well, I just do this one thing and it's fixed. It doesn't work like that. We know it doesn't work. We see it in all different animals that it doesn't work. So why with dogs do we think that we go, bam, it's just fixed? And we know this as humans, but it sometimes maybe goes back to the core of just ease, isn't it? Just I just want it easy. I just want it to be box ready, boom, done, 1 hour session. And deep down, I think at our core, we know that doesn't work. So that's where we need to hopefully pivot ideology a little bit to more about, well, he is a German Shepherd and he's doing German Shepherd things. Or this dog is a husky. So yes, it might pull a little bit on the lead because it's a husky and it's bred to pull. It's maybe getting people to understand that a little bit more, because I think we've maybe moved the touch too much in general, to where we pick a little bit on the visual looks of a dog, or fashions and this, that, and the other, and then we go, actually, well, he still is a bit of a dog, and he is a bit of a rascal because he does this, and it's what he was bred to do. And I think as people move back to that, they actually see that it's happier, because we're doing stuff for the dog that's happier and that they want to do. And in general, they're in a better place, and it means that the human's in a better place, rather than I mean, it can't be nice just battling against something all the time and then having to use these aversive methods. And you're just trying to suppress a dog that you deep down really love and want to be happy with. So I would just be like, well, yeah, I might not take my German Shepherd to the cafe because he doesn't really like it. I'll take him out in the woods or the rivers and I'll let him like rip into stuff now because that's us like having a good experience together. So I would hope that people can see that you can do behavior stuff in a positive way. And I think getting people excited about it is a big thing as well. Excited to be like, this is what your dog's about. Now go and do this, and this is the training you can do, rather than more being sort of saying, yeah, your dog shouldn't be doing that. Let's suppress it and let's do that to stop it from doing it. So I think that's where we've got to shift a little bit of being getting back in line with what dogs are about, really.
You can understand from a person's point of view if they have a dog that is behaving dangerously, either that they're pulling them over on the lead or that they're aggressing at somebody, or, so you can understand that person's desire to get it sorted really fast. And I get that. And that's why where we say, when we talk about quick fixes, we're talking about management. That's what we're talking about, is management. And you can, we show it on the Dog Academy, but you can change behavior really fast by managing the situation and relieving pressure and creating safety, not just the dog being in a safe environment, but feeling safe. And you can do that very fast. But why is it, we understand that in kids, for example, that it's going to take a while. If a kid is having an issue, or if the kid is violent, it's going to take a while, and it's going to take maybe quite a lot of therapy and understanding to maybe change that child's behavior or make it feel better. But with dogs, it's just like, oh no, you just put a shock collar on it, or just tell it off. Tell it because the behavior is bad. The behavior is bad, and we've got to make it good. And I have this real thing, Sean, where I kind of battle against this. Oh, this is good behavior and bad behavior. I don't see behavior in terms of good and bad. I see behavior in terms just as behavior, right? Good and bad is what we label it. Good and bad is what it means to us in our lives, in our society. And so we might label that aggressive behavior is a bad behavior. And because it's a bad behavior, we've got to get it under control. And we're going to make the dog submissive. We're going to dominate that dog, and we're going to put dreadful contraptions on the dog to make it submissive and to control it. And we're going to use different techniques in order to do that, to get rid of the bad behavior. Until we start looking at behavior just as behavior and not labeling it, I don't see how we're going to be that effective.
Yeah, you nailed it there. A lot of it's from our social construct of like what we think should be acceptable, what we want this dog to do. And you nailed it as well about, so rather than going straight to aversive, if you just put in management tools and then start doing the training, you will fix this dog, but you will actually fix the dog, and the dog will be happier from it, and it will, in general, will just be healthier. Whereas if you just go for the aversive effect, you may have not fixed the actual behavior, and it might flare up somewhere else. It might flare up against you. You have some fallout you might get from it, or it'll just rear somewhere else. And so I think that's where we get a bit mixed up. And it's like we've been talking through earlier in the podcast about saying, yes, the training's effective, but think about the management. But really, it's about the two together. It's coupling them. Yeah. Don't just push this one away. Don't forget about the exercise and the happy places and the fun. Don't forget about the management, but also then keep a bit of the training going. And it's just the balance. And I think, look, it's hard to say because people live really busy lives now. They're working a lot. If you've got a big dog and you love this big dog and things have just got a bit out of control, it's about, well, how do we recenter that? And sometimes I think people, maybe that's when they look at these shows and they go, Christ, you just put that on and it's done. Put that on, bump, it's done. But it isn't really. I promise you, most times it will come back worse in some different way. So then it's about saying to people of, well, this method takes a little bit longer, but this management now will be really effective straight off the bat. And I think that's where it's just understanding. Honestly, I just think it's understanding. Do you remember? Sorry, I was just going to say. Do you remember? It took. Do you know how long it took for people to accept to put seatbelts in cars? We rallied against it for years and years. It took them ages to pass it through. Think about if you thought about that now, you'd be like, "Oh my god,
crazy
seatbelts in cars!" Yeah, and I think we're currently in that moment right now of this sort of battling against it, and people are now starting to realise and go, actually, yeah, there is a bit of lengthiness of what they're trying to do.
Why, though, still is that trying to, I don't know, win the battle over an animal still so celebrated that when, if you can tame the beast, that is revered almost. It's revered. And it's abuse, right? It's abuse.
Yeah.
But people don't see it like that, and they cover it and they mask it, and then they tell, me when I call out, that's abusive, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's abuse. I do not understand how people can celebrate it and go, that's great. And I have to tell you something. This was shocking to me. There is a trainer on social media and a animal cruelty prosecutor contacted me, said, hey, I had no idea who this trainer was. Hey, take a look at this guy. This guy's amazing. Saves a lot of dogs from euthanasia. I think they should come and speak at a particular conference, not my conference, but another one. And I was like, oh, cool. Let me go and watch. And I watched, and I was absolutely disgusted by what this trainer was doing. Shocking. And yet, because the dog saved from euthanasia, and this is what you need to do to save dogs from euthanasia. And here was an animal cruelty prosecutor saying this person was amazing and look what they did with dogs. That's where we are, Sean. That's where we are. I think
that's the core of being where we've talked about. We, in general, as an industry, we've jumped the gap and we're up here in the clouds, and we just need to go a little bit down again and go try and pick everyone back up again and go, this is the standards, this is what we should be doing, this is it all simplified, this is how we can be effective for you, because that there is maybe this gap of sort of knowledge almost, and you got to look at these things and go, is he an animal person? In general, right? Not even training or what your mechanics are like. You meet people and you go, they're animal people. Now, I've been around farmers, livestock people, horsey people, everything. You go, you're an animal person. And just see any animal that they're around, you go, you're an animal person. Sometimes I watch these videos and I'm like, is he an animal person? Just at his core of being happy doing that to dogs. I go, nah, that wouldn't be right for me. I'd be like, this. It's not even the methods. I'd just be like, at its core, I'd be like, that just doesn't feel right. What I would be doing to that animal, and the thing is, it's not really that effective. You can get results. I mean, there is some aversive stuff where you can debate. You can see it has a certain effective, but some of the stuff that these are doing on social media for clickbait stuff is just animal abuse. It's all it is.
That's it, exactly. But people can get away with it. People can get away with it because if you did that to a child, you will be in jail. Yeah. You do not collect your £100 and you go straight to jail and you're going to stay there, right? This isn't a game. If you do that to a child, but yet you can do it to a dog. And then when you speak out about it and say, this is not right. And I understand we got to respect our industry, and I have a ton of respect for many, many trainers in the industry. But if there's somebody that's abusing dogs, I'm going to call it out. Yeah, but then the abuse you receive in return, the abuse and and you just see the ignorance out there when these people are defending a particular method. And also, then you're called out and called a snowflakes, and you're this and you're that. And you know that these people are ignorant. They are.
Yeah.
You can't look at that and go, and everybody has a mouthpiece on social media, but it's frustrating because you're like, you know what? Actually, you can call me all the names you want under the sun, but this dog went through terror and trauma at the hands of this trainer. And that's what you're not seeing.
Yeah. And I think that is at the core of it, isn't it? It's not about, so you take these certain trainers, it's not about attacking the actual individual trainers, doesn't really do a lot. It's the people around them that need educated. If we can educate them, then they'll naturally would fade away anyways. Just like now, you wouldn't get in a car without a seatbelt, would you? It's just kind of like, it's gone. You just wouldn't drive in it. So it's then being like, so how do we move that industry forward? How do we help it? How do we make it more positive? And I think, hopefully, I would say that the science is now getting filtered down into really effective ways for people. People are now starting to see results from it because it becomes easier and they can actually do it. And nobody's choosing, if you can get the same result, nobody's choosing an electric collar over a positive method. You just wouldn't do it. So I think once we get to that place of people it being really accessible and people will be like, this is amazing, we love doing this, our relationship's brilliant with our dog now, that's when the industry will really leap forward. And hopefully we would see, America's great for it, we get a little bit of in Australia as well, Spain's actually quite good for it, but more centres like mine, where like the holistic approach is the first approach. And we see all these dog centres.
100%. It needs to be the first approach. And it doesn't have to be the only approach, but it needs to be where people go first to decompress, find out why their dog is doing, and allow their dog to be a dog.
Yeah.
To truly have somebody understand and allow their dog to be a dog and build that wonderful relationship between dog and person first. And then you can start. Then you've got a great foundation. And I call it a launch pad. You got this launch pad now of understanding and this better bond that's built up. And now you can go and on your learning and your teaching journey together.
Yeah. And the thing is, so we've talked a lot about the human side of it in dogs and where we want the industry to go. But so we've got like a new project that I'm doing at the moment about how we're going to use dogs and some horses that are going to help disabled kids at a centre, and how we can bring them on and help them overcome their struggles and give them responsibilities and actually then filters in that, and then they can succeed more at life. We're all in the same journey together. Do you know what I mean? We can't divide it too much, and that's what is essentially got us into this new project. I've seen this work with the dogs, and I've seen how much it helps people though. And then I've said, oh, well, now how can we sort of reverse it and directly impact these kids that then can go on and succeed in the world as well, and then possibly have this companion. And it's not saying we're not looking at an all-round companion dog. That's his perfect dog. It's going to be a dog. But that's what they want. They want that bit of rough and bustle with a dog and playing with it and having that interaction, because that's what them kids need. They need a release from that intensity of the position that they're in, and show them that they still can succeed and they can still enjoy life and they can still do all these amazing things. And that's what I love, this whole companion sort of let's move forward together journey that we can go on with animals in general. You know, we're dog people. I love horses. I've got mates that have got like alpacas and stuff, and they're the same. They love them. Or their chickens, and they're talking away to their chickens all the time, stuff like that. So I mean, we can be connected with animals. We truly can.
I think that's it then. That's it. The connection. We need to build that A, understanding, but B, that connection again with our dogs. And it really is pretty simple. That's it. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, yeah, I kind of lost my way a bit, even if you are a positive trainer, I've kind of lost my way a bit and I want to get back. then that's my advice, is simplify. Sean, you are amazing. There's a reason why you are a trainer on the Dog Academy, because you are amazing. And I love your ethos. I love that hashtag loved pets, love life. Where can people, if they want to find out more about you or indeed bring their dog to the center, what's your information?
If you search us online, petsercise.uk, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, just Petsercise UK. Also, we're based in like Durham. We cover a few counties, but we're pretty much sort of 20 minutes away from Newcastle sort of area in the UK. But if you follow our pages, you can see all the fun stuff. You'll see all the new projects we're doing. You'll see the pool swimming and the stuff that we're going to do, helping the kids and how it all factors. So follow us, look at it, take your own ideas from it, use it, hope it inspires you. Do what you can with it, really. Just move this industry forward.
And watch the Dog Academy on Channel 4.
Yeah.
Yes, I cannot wait. I'm very excited. And yeah, we had all kinds of dogs, didn't we, Sean? I know we're not allowed to talk about that right now, but we truly did.
It is going to be a banger. I can promise you that one.
Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. And I'm really, really glad you're here. And thank you for everything that you do with dogs. I really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And thanks everybody for listening to this podcast. I hope that that's given you a lot of food for thought. It definitely is a journey that I'm going on right now of simplifying everything so that dog lovers out there and dogs will benefit. For those of you who are interested in taking courses, please check out positively.com. We have amazing courses there for dog lovers. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. Just a lot of our courses are free, and our other courses are pretty cheap, but really, really, really good. And then also, if you want to become a dog trainer, check out vsdogtrainingacademy.com and come learn with VSA. Thank you so much, Sean. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Victoria Stilwell's Positively podcast. For Victoria's online dog training courses, more information, and helpful dog training tips, visit Victoria's official website at positively.com. Get connected on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media as Victoria Stilwell, and follow her on Twitter at Victoria S. Learn to become a professional dog trainer with the Victoria Stilwell Academy at vsdogtrainingacademy.com. And be sure to tune in next time as Victoria helps you and your dog live your best life together, positively.